Like to introduce yourself and kind of tell us, what you do and about the Percussive Arts Society?
Sure. So I'm Joshua Simonds. I'm the executive director of the Percussive Arts Society. PAS is essentially the International Association, membership association for drummers and percussionists around the world. We have been in existence since 1961 and have been headquartered in Indianapolis since 2009. And In 2009, when PAS moved to Indianapolis, a lot of people might know our museum that was around for many years, which was Rhythm Discovery Center. A lot of people would come to Rhythm Discovery Center. That was our interactive drum and percussion museum, which closed in early 2022 after a flood. But we're still in a different interview for another day. But there's hopes that we will be bringing some sort of interactive space back in the near future. So I think when people think about PAS and PASIC and Rhythm, like the same organization, we have these great programs, but a lot of people locally knew the museum or the Discovery Center, but that's just a program of the Percussive Arts Society. A large, really what we are is that membership association who does things for anything drums and percussion related, and it's not so much of a private organization. We do lots of stuff for the public, for our community, for education. So it's a great fun organization, and we're very fortunate to be in Indianapolis and have our convention here, which is I think a good part of what this conversation hopefully will be about.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
so what the event that is coming up is the
yeah,
Percussive Arts Society International Convention. Is that correct?
that's correct.
Oh,
Exactly. Well done. And then, which spells PASIC, essentially.
right.
Yes, it is. That is our convention. So essentially our biggest event of the year. Yeah.
So, what is the goal of this event overall?
Yeah, so PASIC has a number um, of goals each year. We are part trade show, but part music education conference, and part music festival.
Okay.
So it fits in. So people who might have been to a trade show before, you walk in place and you just go to an expo hall and it's just booths of whatever it may be. Yes, we have that. You can come and just go to the expo hall if you want to and see every major drum and percussion company around and try their instruments and talk to the people who actually made them or run those companies, and in some cases even buy things off the floor. So if you're looking for a new cymbal, you're looking for a drum set, you can try hundreds of different things. So that's one part of it. And then we have more than 100 concerts and clinics and master classes and panel discussions and competitions happening all throughout the weekend. So there's that aspect of it. And then each night we have and those concerts, there's usually 3 or 4 or 5 happening every hour at one time. And then each evening we have one large evening concert, and those are at 8 o'clock on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then a little bit earlier on Saturday, at 6. And those are really these much larger artists, something for everyone. Sometimes even something the public likes to come and see. So that's really kind of it's really about a gathering of drummers and percussionists to focus on our art form, but at the same time, drums and percussion are one of those things that you don't have to be a drummer or percussionist to enjoy this art form, at all. You can
Yeah.
just be a music lover, because most things that are happening, it's not, you will have a decent amount of solo drums percussion, but a lot of things that happen are with other musicians or other music making
Mhm.
things. So it's definitely one of those things where if you enjoy music, you'll really enjoy our convention. And we call it the greatest 4 days in drums and percussion, because I think a lot of people might think drum set, and we have a really large drum set track. I mean, you could come to PASIC and spend all day in the drum set room and not, because there's every just alternating everything hour. But if you want to go check out some world percussion, if you want to check out marching drums, if you want to check out symphonic, orchestral, interactive drumming, which would be like drum circles or health and wellness type stuff, new music, um, instruments that you've never seen before. There's so many different things to kind of dabble in and check out and be like really wowed by some of the artistry on some of these musicians who just are making music, and we have so many international people coming in. So really that's where that last part, that music festival kind of part is, where it is really a showcase for a different sort of music that a lot of people may not
Yeah.
have access to all the time. Yeah.
Well, I'd say like because one of the questions I was going to ask was, what kind of audience that but I mean, given all of that, you kind of have a pretty broad,
Yes.
audience because you have people that just are music enthusiasts or musicians and people that like music, that or
Yeah.
just are curious.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's
Definitely who
awesome.
are, oh yeah, definitely people who are just curious, or just fans, like, I go places kind of, I don't know how to do the thing, but I'm a fan of it, right? And drums is kind of one of those things. Oh, I love watching drummers and playing drums, and some might say, oh, I don't play, I just like it, and that's um and that's a great thing about us. We are a consumer show, so a lot of shows that come to indie are closed and private. You might see them around, but you're not going unless you are actually in part of that trade or whatever it may be. We use Gen Con as an example. Gen Con is the convention that we all strive to be. 75,000 plus people, but it's really is it's people who really love gaming in some way or something about it, who come and say, these are my people, this is the thing that I love to do on my time, and they make this great weekend out of it. And our convention is on a smaller scale, 6,000 people. We would
That's
love to
still
get to
that's still quite
we would love
sizable.
we would love to get to Gen Con numbers. Don't get me wrong. I always talk to David, their CEO, about it. They do a great job, but we are open to the public, who, we are not a closed show. So especially this year, we're actually really trying to tell our local Indiana community about, hey, not only, this happens in your backyard every year. We've committed to staying in Indy long term, and so this really cool event happens right here. And on top of that, which I think we'll put some information out, we're actually offering special local discounts to all of our Indiana residents this year. So, because we really want people to come check it out and be like, hey, we're here. We are very part of the community, whether it's through
Yeah.
Rhythm Discovery Center, through PASIC. We want to be more than just that convention who comes to town. We really want to embrace, our community as much as we can.
Yeah. So how does a musician become involved with your society?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a number of ways. We are a membership-based organization, but you don't actually have to be a member to come to PASIC this year to check it out. And I think coming to PASIC, especially if you're local, is the best way to really, like, you're going to see everything, and that's the best way. We actually set up a website, or we set up a page on our website, which is just PASIC.org, PASIC.org /Indiana. And if they go there, you don't have to be a member. There's special rates to come and check it out, and all different opportunities. And then, people are like, hey, this is really great, I want to get more and more involved throughout the year. There's ways that they can join, and there's local chapters and competitions and scholarships and publications and all the good stuff. But from a single event, um, we just want people to come enjoy and check it out. We're trying to constantly get our art form more, widely known. And we also think it's one of the most accessible art forms out there. Everyone drums. They tapping, you clapping, and whatever. That's
Yeah.
rhythm, right? That's percussion. And there's so many opportunities to actually sit in and play and try things at PASIC. And we're very open to that. You don't have to come and be like, oh, I'm not a professional drummer, I can't be there. That's not it at all. We want people to come and try and talk to people. So many of the artists just walk up and down the halls of the convention center. You might see someone from a band, and they'll just stop and talk to you because we are a very close knit group of people, a very close community.
Yeah, that's always well, I think being inviting is kind of important when people are learning because it's really intimidating, right? To want to learn an instrument or something about it and to not have that knowledge and not really be able to talk about it. So, I mean, it's cool to create a place where
Yeah.
people that are
Oh yeah.
both learned and not can come and kind of be in
Yeah.
there. Yeah,
We
learn.
even have throughout the day throughout the weekend we have different stations. Some of our committees put together where you can actually we call them drum set training, rudiment training. You can stop and actually have an educator help you with like a lesson for a little bit, you know, and it could be someone who's professional who wants some tips, and it could be someone who's sitting down for the first time, and they'll take you through it. So we have these different places where it is inviting, it is interactive, it is, hey, come try this, you know, and then give you tips on, hey, if you're interested in doing this, here's some ways to go about it. So we have those interactive stations in the hallways that you can just kind of stop and check out and do. And we really like those because you know everyone, no matter what level you're at, everyone can get better. Whether it's your first time sitting down or you've been playing for 30 years, you know that's musicians. You never stop learning. So you know, it can be day one or I said you're 30, it doesn't matter. You know, people are always wanting to learn more.
Well, how many years have you guys been doing this now?
Oh, yes. That's a great lead in. So this is our 49th PASIC. So we are gearing up. This is going to be a great PASIC. And we're gearing up for 2025, which is going to be PASIC 50. So uh really excited about that. It was like someone gave you that. It's like someone told you that, just kind of gave you that softball. Yes, but this is going to be a great year, and hopefully the momentum carries us right into 2025, which will be PASIC 50. But yeah, we've been doing it, and we've been in Indy um, since well, essentially only we've only left Indy I think two times since 2011. And we have been here since 2016. Indy's such a great convention. I mean, such a great convention city. We do what are the sports stuff, and obviously just with Taylor, you know, Swift
And you guys
leaving,
use the convention center, correct?
we use the full we use the convention center. The music for all the bands of America, um, all the high school bands around the country come in. They use Lucas Oil during that same weekend, so there's a lot of music happening actually. I mean, there's a lot of other things happening that weekend in town. You know, the Indianapolis Symphony Orchestra on Thursday night of PASIC has a special 6 o'clock concert that is percussion focused, which is really great. The Jazz Kitchen has on Friday, they have a gentleman named Mike Clark,
Nice.
who's incredible drummer. He's doing, you know, he's playing with his group on Friday. I said Bands of America has their championships and their finals are on Saturday night after PASIC is done. You know, so there's the whole weekend is music, which is really cool, and a lot of drums, which I think is even better.
Have you guys had to make any changes? Like if someone were to have come in a previous year, and, you know, you found something that maybe worked a
Mm.
little bit better for the event, are there any kind of changes that people will notice or maybe even appreciate more when they come this year?
Yeah, we're constantly trying. You know, one of the biggest things that we do every year, and it's interesting. We really are cognizant of how loud the convention can be. I mean, we are talking about drums and percussion, and especially in the expo hall. And so last year we instituted some new policies, and we've even followed up this year on how we can make that experience more enjoyable for everyone. So we've worked with our industry partners who are in there. We have more volunteers walking around, and it's not policing people; it's more educating them on why you shouldn't be banging and how it actually, you know, hearing protection and in our ears. We do a lot of studies on that. We really encourage hearing protection. We have uh, um, hearing protection available for free for everyone to make sure that they're using that. So people might say, "Oh, I don't want to go; it's too loud." It is go. There are the expo hall can be loud, but we are doing a lot to make sure that people can walk through. The 15 minutes on the top of every hour is actually no playing. It's just walking around and talking to the people and seeing the stuff. We are really we've come up with all these policies with our industry, with our diversity alliance. We have a very large diversity committee and alliance at PAS, and we talk about everything from obviously um, gender and LGBTQ, but also neurodivergence and people with disabilities. So it we are really
Nice.
thinking about all the different how we can be inclusive across the board, and that's everything. And sound and people, lots of people, especially come after COVID, a lot of people do have, post-COVID symptoms and are hearing. So there's just so much that we constantly are thinking about. And the nice thing about Indianapolis is we can think of those changes on the spot and say, hey, next year, let's implement this. Let's use this room instead for this. When you're constantly changing a convention around to a different city every single year, you can't, it's hard to improve upon it because you're changing the whole layout, right?
Hmm.
And we don't have to do that. We can say, here's how we can make it even better for our attendees. Here's how we can make it more enjoyable. And we really spend all year making sure that's happening. But definitely the sound issue, if you've been before, you're like, I can't go back, it's too loud. It's not too, we have really made it, it's, it's better for us too. And, when people have to
Yeah.
be in there for hours and hours at a time, we want it to be even nicer. So that's, I think, would be the biggest change that I would actually promote right now is this, that we are constantly making it more enjoyable for everyone. But then every year is different, right? We have, we don't repeat artists that often. So you might have been there 2 or 3 years ago, but you're going to see 100 new artists and musicians and people. So that's always exciting as well.
What are some of the artists that you're excited most to see?
Oh, I'm excited to see every single one of them. However, I will point out a few that maybe this audience is interested in. Our Wednesday night concert, our opening concert, is Antonio Sanchez and his group Bad Hombre. Antonio has been to Indy a few times. He was just here. He played at, I think, Newfields, but Antonio wrote and played the soundtrack for Birdman. If you
Nice.
ever seen the music Birdman, that's an all percussion, all drum soundtrack. It's only Antonio, and so that's him. And so his Bad Hombre, uh, amazing court. It's a quartet, and it also features his wife, Donna Alexa. So it's a really cool progressive jazz stuff. So that'll be really cool on Wednesday. Thursday night, we have a jazz sextet with vibraphone virtuoso Stefan Harris, one of the greatest living vibraphone players in the world. His group called Blackout. So Stefan Harris and Blackout, they'll be on Thursday. Friday night, one of the premier percussion ensembles in the country, So Percussion. They're coming and doing, percussion quartet, actually with a few guest artists as well. So that's always a big draw for our community, percussion ensemble and in, the universities where a lot of people love that music, symphonic percussion ensemble music. So they're that. And then Saturday is really cool. The U.S. Army Blues, which is the official jazz big band of the U.S. Army, will be coming in, and we have 6 different drum set artists sitting in with them. So I talked about Mike Clark, who just happens to be at the Jazz Kitchen. We'll be playing the tune. Colleen Clark, no relation, phenomenal educator out of South Carolina and performer, who's great. Peter Erskine, who's world renowned, used to be drummer Weather Report, has played in so many different groups. Greg Hutchinson, Steve Fiddick, who used to hold the chair for the Army Blues, is retired since, and a really great new drummer, Maria Mamaro, who's from Philly, just won a few of the Lincoln Center competitions. Great young drummer is going to come sit in as well. So it's really cool and just different people, different styles, and generations of people. But the Army Blues is just a great band. So that'll be really fun to close out the concert, or sorry, close out the convention. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, something I'm curious to know is, do you have like speakers? Do you have people that talk about, their experience or how they got to be where they are? How does that play into your event at all?
We do have some panel discussions, and we do have some a few AMAs, or Ask Me Anythings. One this year is one of our Hall of Fame members, Terry Lynn Carrington. She is being inducted to she's one of our 5 Hall of Fame inductees, and she's going to be doing a conversation with Terry Lynn Carrington. She is a phenomenal drum set artist, has performed back in the day with Herbie Hancock. And she runs at Berkeley in Boston, runs the Institute for Gender Diversity. And she's going to be speaking at PASIC, doing a panel, essentially a panel, which will be really really great. She's done a lot of our online she's done a lot of some of our online Zoom panels, and she's always so busy. So when we can actually get her on site, it's like whenever you're free, we will take you. So Terry Lynn, that's on Friday afternoon at PASIC. We have an entire app. We have a guidebook app you can find it at PASIC. You can download and search by, I want to see all March. I want to see all this. I want to see it just on Friday or Saturday. You can download it and see you can see all the concerts and clinics and where they are. And, if you've never been to the convention center, everything is so nice and tight. It's not, you're not having to walk. It's not like Chicago where you're having to walk a mile from one room to the other. You can get around really easily at the Indiana Convention Center.
So can they use the same website to purchase tickets?
Yeah, so they can. So at pasic.org/Indiana for our residents, they can go there. They can purchase tickets right on there, and they'll see the discounts right on there. And there's also, I won't repeat it, but you'll go there if you have any issues. We have all the contact information, and we are a very accessible group. So you email us, we're going to get right back to you. Yeah, and we want to make sure that our Indiana residents are feel special and welcomed and can come check it out. So yeah, let us know.
And can people also purchase tickets at the event on the day of
they can come in line. Yes. Yeah. In fact, so you can just make sure you bring your ID, because when you show up, if you are not an Indiana resident, buying tickets on site is very expensive because we really ask people not to. But if you come and say I'm an Indiana resident and you show your ID, you'll still get the Indiana discount.
Excellent.
Definitely. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So not their favorite way, but if you have to.
If you have to, but we definitely want you to, that's the easiest way for you to come and do it 100%. All of our amazing volunteers know this year that we could be, bringing more Indiana people in. So they are ready to say, I got you. I know what you're talking about.
Awesome. And all the sales from your tickets will benefit
all the sales will benefit 100%. Goes right back into the organization, back into PAS. It helps us do, our scholarships, our programming around the country, our publication. It all just helps feed our organization, which is a nonprofit, 501c3 PAS is. And yeah, so our convention, all of our money goes right back into our organization for our local international programming.
Righteous. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for the time to talk to me today.
My pleasure. I appreciate it. And yeah, I hope we see a lot of people out there.
Yeah, hopefully you'll see everybody.
Sounds good. Thanks so much, Amanda.
Yeah, thanks. Bye.
Bye.